beloved members of our community, good morning. Can everybody hear me? Loud and clear? Great. I am Corel Sheridan. I am the Executive Director of the Legislature of the Virgin Islands, and I will be your Mistress of Ceremony for today's program. Welcome to this special Perma Plaque ceremony in honor of 12 who have exemplified exemplary dedication and commitment to our community. Before we begin, I kindly request that everyone please rise for the invocation led by our legislative chaplain, Reverend Charles L. Brown, Jr.
Let every heart pray. O thou in whose presence our souls take delight, on whom in affliction we call, our comfort by day, our song in the night, you are our hope, our salvation, and our all. Today, this august body of lawmakers have invited Virgin Islanders to celebrate the life and legacy of 12 outstanding individuals from our community. 3 doctors, a brigadier general, a reggae icon, a police lieutenant, a horse jockey and a disc jockey, a Moko Jumbi cultural icon, a Major League Baseball pioneer, an aviation trailblazer, and a man of the cloth. The diversity of their gifts speaks to the reality that we ought to search ourselves to make sure we are maximizing the measure of grace bestowed upon us. And as much as we can marvel in what they have achieved, the reality is who they are because of you, Heavenly Father, is so much greater than what they've done. Thank you for reminding us that in the midst of a historic week, in the midst of hard times, if we would but lift up our eyes upon the hills upon which our help comes, we can see your glory in the lives of 12 Virgin Islanders. Like us, they have made their way through life through paths filled with tacks and splinters and boards torn up, and places where there's no carpet on the floor. When we feel like life is overwhelming, Lord, cause us to remember sons and daughters of the soil like these who we honor today. Not because they're perfect, not because they're better than any of us, but because you have allowed each of them to succeed while suffering, triumph through tribulation, and overcome despite obstacles. May their persistence to pursue excellence become contagious, especially in our neighborhoods where finding hope is a constant struggle and fighting despair is a daily ritual. This we pray in your holy name, amen.
You, Reverend Brown, and please remain standing for the National Anthem and the Virgin Islands March. And now you may be seated. And now it is my honor to introduce our esteemed Senate President, Novelle E. Francis Jr., who will share welcome remarks.
Thank you very much, Mistress of Ceremony, Executive Director Corel Sheridan. A pleasant good morning to everyone. Good morning. Thank you, Chaplain, for that wonderful invocation. I also want to say good morning to my colleagues of the 35th Legislature of the Virgin Islands. Of course, we have Senator Ray Fonseca, Senator Maurice C. James, Esquire. We also have Senator Samuel Carrion. And over on this side, we have Senator Angel Bocas Jr., our Senator at Large. Our representing Senator Javon James is Ms. Michelle, as well as our Commissioner of Public Works, the Honorable Derek Gabriel, who's also my co-host here today. I want to say again, good morning to everyone. Today, I'm honored to bring greetings on behalf of the members of the 35th Legislature as we celebrate Virgin Islanders who have made a significant contribution to St. Croix and the entire territory. I also want to apologize for some of my colleagues that may not be here yet, but be making their way as we have our conflicting ceremony this morning where the Honorable Justice Harold Willock is being sworn in Frederiksted, so I'm sure that they'll be making their way here this morning. But I felt I was responsible for making some comments at that function as well, but I felt compelled to be here today again where we're honoring Virgin Islanders, and of course it's here at the Legislature, so I wanted to be here to do that. I also want to welcome Senator Diane T. Capehart. Good morning, Senator. Thank you for joining us. The 12 individuals recognized today represent the diversity of our community and who we are as a people. Our distinguished honorees are athletes, musicians, physicians, military leaders, and culture bearers. We are thankful to have so many of our honorees in this room with us today, while others will be recognized posthumously for their accomplishment. Today, my colleagues and I are proud to honor Dr. Ralph D. DeChabert, Dr. Caroline Fawkes, Pastor Hector Gonzalez, Dr. Olaf Bronco Hendricks, Mr. Willard John, and Miguel DJ Papi Pops Santos Jr. While we also posthumously will salute Vaughn Benjamin, Lieutenant Melbourne Clarke, Dr. Rafael Garcia, and Honorary Brigadier General Leayle Galiber, as well as Euclyn, Pede, Prentice, and Valmy Thomas. Please join me in a round of applause for these Virgin Islanders. It is hard to encapsulate their collective contribution to the history of the Virgin Islands. So I simply want to say thank you. Thank you to the honorees and their families. Public service is a difficult service to provide to this community. And I also want to take this opportunity to commend and thank their families as well, because they too make the sacrifices and contributions while their family member serve this community. So we also want to recognize the families and to thank them with a round of applause. An event like this reminds us that all of us have an ability to leave our mark on this community. The men and women being honored today not only made their mark on our community, but they serve as examples of service, leadership, and what could be accomplished by hard work. It is always the right time to celebrate Virgin Islanders, and I thank all of you for being here today. And again, let the show begin, because we want to, again, highlight the contribution that have been made by these honorees. Thank you for being here this morning, and you'll hear a little bit more from me later on today. Thank you.
And the Senate President has spoken. He said, let the show begin. So we are going to move forward with the presentation of plaques to our distinguished honorees. So who we want to big up first? Who you think that is? Who you think that is? Miguel DJ Papi Pops Santos Jr. You are honored and commended with resolution number 1913 and bill number 35-0242. We invite the Honorable Angel L. Bolquez Jr., prime sponsor of this measure, to join me at the podium to speak to this measure. Senator.
Good morning. Buenos dias. Bonjour. I want to say good morning to everyone, and as we gather here to honor Miguel Santos Jr., or as we affectionately know him, DJ Papi Pops, a man who has touched our lives in countless ways. From your days as a student in St. Patrick's Middle School, where your love for music first sparked within you, to becoming an unmistakable voice and pulse of our territory in the area of entertainment, music, and broadcasting. You have shown us what living with passion and purpose means. You've created memories and moments that we will carry with us forever. Whether it's your nights at Hondo's nightclub or the numerous events and showcases you've organized and showcased for our Virgin Islands talent, to the thrill of tuning in to the Reggae Jam session on Aisle 95, or the joy of joining your legendary old school events, your talent has resonated beyond our shores. Through your work, you've shared the essence of St. Croix and the Virgin Islands with the world, allowing others to experience the richness of our culture. But what sets you apart is not just your talent, it's your heart. When you were presented with a challenge, a difficult one at that, you didn't waver. After your stroke, an experience that would turn away many people from their dreams, you stood firm. You came back stronger with an even deeper sense of purpose. And not only did you return to music, but you also opened doors for others by establishing the first DJ Academy in our Caribbean region. And that says a lot about where you put your heart. And your journey has shown us the true strength, that true strength is actually measured by a man's actions and not his words. Pops, we see you, not just for the DJ that you are, or the mentor, or the friend, or the man of resilience, but we know that you have invested in your community, nurturing the next generation of DJs, and also in sports with the young people with softball, which you've worked tirelessly to help them develop their sports experiences. And as we know, sports also holds a lot of morals and values and teamwork, and you are now sharing that with the next generation. So today, on behalf of the people of the Virgin Islands and the 35th Legislature of the Virgin Islands, it is our great honor and privilege to present you with the Perma Plaque for Miguel Santos Jr., better known as DJ Papi Pops, for all of your work and support, not only in the area of music, but with our next generation. May your story continue to inspire, and may your legacy live on in the future of all entertainers, disc jockeys, and sports. Thank you.
Those contributions are numerous. So we are going to present you with the official Perma Plaque. We ask all senators present to please join us in the middle of the well as we present this plaque. A resolution honoring and commending Miguel Santos Jr., AKA DJ Papi Pops, for his contributions in the field of music and in radio broadcasting of musical events and local social musical events, and specifically contributing to the art of DJing and the teaching of DJing. And as we're taking this photo, we ask family, friends, and supporters to also join for another photo. Don't all come at once. Don't be shy. This is your moment. Come right on up. Thank you. Now we invite the honoree himself to address the audience. Okay. And we'd also like to recognize the presence of Senator Donna Fred Gregory. Mr. Santos, the podium is yours.
First of all, I'd like to say good morning.
Good morning.
I ain't pretty good at this part, but yeah, I know my mouth big and everything, but I just want to say thank you to the public, to the Senator Angel Bolquez, Ray Fonseca, and to the community for accepting me throughout my career. But I can't forget my dad, my family, and I try to stay strong because my mom played a major role in my life. But with that being said, you know, big up everybody, man. And thank you, community. God bless.
Now, if I didn't have big up in the speech, I don't know. We don't know. We would have been like, was that really him? Thank you so much. Now we honor Honorary Brigadier General Leayle Gerard Galiber, who is honored with Resolution 1910, Bill number 35-0116, posthumously. And we invite our Honorable Senate President to provide remarks on this measure. Yes. And of course, please join us in the well, Dr. Galiber.
Honorable Brigadier General Leayle Gerard Galiber. While today's a day of celebration, I'm also express my heartfelt condolences to the family of the Honorary Brigadier General Leayle Gerard Galiber. Brigadier General Galiber passed away recently, October 28th, at the ripe age of 92. However, while he's not here today, he had an opportunity while we vetted this piece of legislation to actually hear and participate at a distance in this process. He is an unsung hero of our territory who made a lasting mark in the military and on the safety and security of this territory. Like many young Virgin Islanders, Honorary Brigadier General Galiber served honorably in Vietnam, where we received the Bronze Star Medal for meritorious achievement of service in the combat zone. Back at the home front, Brigadier General Galiber was instrumental in guiding the organization of the Virgin Islands National Guard and serving as the acting Adjutant General pending the first confirmation of the Adjutant General Gerard Los James. I commend his family for leading the charge to ensure that his name, accomplishments, and legacy of service are recorded in the Virgin Islands history. Today is a difficult day because we were hoping to be able to have him present here today. Nonetheless, we do have Dr. Gante Galiber, his family member, as well as others that's here again so that we could actually recognize the contribution that have been made by this unsung hero. Brigadier General Leayle Gerard Galiber. Thank you very much. Please join me.
And we ask all senators present to please join us in the middle of the well for the plaque presentation. And we recognize the presence of Senator Milton Potter. A resolution honoring and commending Honorary Brigadier General Leayle Gerard Galiber for his leadership in the Virgin Islands National Guard and his dedication to his country and the people of the Virgin Islands. Family, friends, and supporters, we ask you to join us in the middle of the well for a photo. And we invite Dr. Dante Galiber to the podium for remarks. Thank you.
Good morning. The Galiber and Anderson families would like to thank the 35th Legislature and the Department of Public Works in honoring 12 talented and dedicated Virgin Islanders and dedicated Virgin Islanders from many walks of life and many civic and military disciplines during the 2024 Perma Plaque and road naming ceremony. From our heart of hearts, our families, especially Kirsten, John, and Lawaetz Jr., thank the Virgin Islands community, friends, the VI Legislature, legislative and judicial and executive branches, and the soldiers of the Virgin Islands National Guard for the outpouring of condolences and love expressed to us regarding the recent passing of Brigadier General Leayle Gerard Galiber Sr. He was a true patriot, a son, a brother, a husband, a loving father, an uncle, a talented engineer, an American, a decorated United States Army officer, and a retired veteran of the Vietnam War. He appreciated being promoted to Brigadier General in 2023 for his achievements during peacetime and wartime. He took pride in being able to articulate to all Virgin Islanders a key part of the invaluable history of the creation of the federally recognized Virgin Islands National Guard more than 50 years ago. As the footsteps of time march on, it is with a heavy heart and honored remembrance that I stand here today to accept this plaque on behalf of a true giant, an American soldier, and a generous soul, and a kind heart, who is a permanent and important part of the Virgin Islands military and civilian history. Thank you.
This is such an awesome day when we're able to recognize those in our community, and we know that it is also a sad occasion as some are no longer here, or some that would have really been in the audience as the biggest cheerleaders are not here. So we thank the legislature for always giving people their flowers nonetheless. So proceeding on, we have the honor of honoring an entity and its fearless leader on their 60th anniversary, and with a major milestone, we honor the Board of Elections and Dr. Caroline Fawkes with Resolution 1904, Bill number 35-0016. Primary sponsor, Senator Angel L. Bolquez, who we now welcome to the podium to provide remarks on the measure.
And good morning again. Well, today we celebrate a milestone, but the people who have dedicated themselves to this milestone have worked diligently for many, many decades. And I want to say to the Board of Elections, Supervisor of Elections, Dr. Caroline Fawkes, and the entire election system of the Virgin Islands, past and present, thank you for all of the work that you've done for the integrity of our elections. Let's take a moment and reflect on 60 years of commitment, integrity, and service that have kept our elections fair, secure, and trusted by our community. From its early days under the guidance of leaders who laid the foundation to the present day under the steadfast leadership of Supervisor Fawkes, the Virgin Islands election system has been shaped by individuals who believe deeply in the importance of every vote and every voter. I'd like to take a moment to honor those who came before Supervisor Fawkes, Henrietta Tadman, John Abramson Jr., and all of the past deputy supervisors and all of the staff of the election system of the Virgin Islands, each who played a role in strengthening this essential institution. Their efforts, their dedication, and their vision set a path that we continue to follow today. Supervisor Fawkes, the Virgin Islands Board of Elections, and the dedicated staff of the election system of the Virgin Islands, your leadership has carried the legacy forward with passion and purpose. Your work to enhance transparency, implement innovative voting technologies, and engage in community outreach has brought new energy and building trust. Because of you and your team, voter education continues to reach new heights, empowering the people to step forward and cast their votes confidently. We also owe a great debt of gratitude to countless poll workers and volunteers who are the face of the elections on voting days. Your patience and your dedication and the warmth that you give to each voter to enhance their experience to make it meaningful and positive reinforce the belief that participation matters. As we celebrate 60 years of the Virgin Islands election system, we recognize that its strength comes from the structure and the collective efforts of everyone involved, past and present. From the early days under the Colonial Council and the Municipal Court of the Virgin Islands, through various transitions and into the present era of autonomy, each chapter has been defined by dedicated individuals committed to serving the people of our territory. So on behalf of the Legislature of the Virgin Islands, we are honored to present this plaque as a token of our deepest appreciation. Thank you for the generations of dedication and hard work that have built, maintained, and improved our election system. Thank you, Dr. Caroline Fawkes, and the Board of Elections, past supervisors, and countless individuals who have continued to contribute on this journey to resilience and integrity. You've shown us that democracy is more than a process. It's a promise to make each other it's a promise that we make to each other to uphold the values of fairness, transparency, and unity. May you continue to build on the legacy and carry it forward for generations to come. Thank you.
And we ask all senators present to come forward for the plaque presentation to Dr. Caroline Fawkes and the Board of Elections. A resolution honoring and commending the Board of Elections, the Supervisor of Elections, Dr. Caroline Fawkes, and the entire election system team for their tireless service and contributions to the Virgin Islands community, and on the occasion of the 60th anniversary of the establishment of the election system of the Virgin Islands. We also recognize the presence of Senator Franklin D. Johnson. Family, friends, and supporters, please join us in the middle of the well for photo. Supervisor Dr. Fawkes, we welcome you to the podium for acceptance remarks. Okay. And the chair of the Board of Elections will be speaking today. Podium is yours. Thank you.
Good morning, all. My name is Alicia M. Wells, and I am the chairperson of the Board of Directors of the election system of the Virgin Islands. I'd like to personally, for my over 22 years, and I served with John Abramson and not with Miss Henrietta Todman, although we're Sabaneros together. I've had an excellent working relationship with Mrs. Fawkes, Dr. Fawkes. We know that she's military reared, and she doesn't take any nonsense, as you can tell by what's going on in the newspaper, too. So I need not say any more about that. Mrs. Fawkes spends tireless hours reading, researching, so that when she comes forward, she comes with facts. She has done well with the system. She has put her own personal life on hold for the election system of the Virgin Islands, and that's not an easy thing to do. Mrs. Fawkes is, I won't say she's my mentor, but we mentor each other. She's an excellent addition to the election system of the Virgin Islands, and going forward, with or without this suit that we have here that's being published in the newspaper, you would see how resilient Ms. Fawkes is. She's for integrity. She's for truth. She's for honor. She's for letting everyone be able to vote and vote in a atmosphere that we don't have here in the Virgin Islands. At least it's not here yet. We don't know what's going to happen. That's been taking place stateside. She's an excellent addition, and I am just so proud to have been working with her. I retired December 31st after 22 years. And thank you for your vote. If you voted for me for the Constitutional Convention, I hope that I would do well in defining our status as we go forward. So, Mrs. Fawkes, I love you. Good luck. God bless you. Continue. Call on me whenever you want to, and come visit anytime. Also, I'd like to add, Senator Bolkes started in the election system of the Virgin Islands as the board's assistant. So see, we're turning out good people. Thank you.
Thank you so much for I knew election system. I know something was going to be said about a vote, an election, so did not disappoint. So thank you so much, Board Chair, for those remarks, and Dr. Fawkes. Next, we will be honoring and commending Dr. Olaf Bronco Hendricks with Act number 8737, Bill number 35-0101. Primary sponsor, the Honorable Franklin D. Johnson, and we invite you, Senator Johnson, to the podium to speak to this measure. And we invite Dr. Hendricks also to the well.
Good morning. Why being so quiet? Good morning. I'm going to level up this place. People are being honored here today for the amount of work and the achievement, and you are there like with it to a funeral. As a matter of fact, I just came from one. I'm sorry for being late. My neighbor, Mr. Ricardo Dowd, better known as Pando, was laid to rest today, and he's just 2 houses away from me, and I had to be there and here. So I made it in time to speak about this gentleman that I know as Dr. Bronco. I don't know why they gave him the nickname, but I'm going to tell you a little story why I think they gave him the nickname. My grandparents, them, grew up in Frederickstead. They had a lot of cattle, goats, sheep, and horse. You see laughing? And you needed the horse to hold your animal them, and at times when they're looking for the horse ain't no place around. They don't know how he get from Christianstead to Frederickstead, and the horse end up in Christianstead with this gentleman here. So they would always say, you know what, let me go check that boy Hendricks, because every time we're looking for the horse, they're up eastern and we could find him with a horse. But he just used to tell them, I'm only borrowing it for a while because I couldn't make it back up to the Christianstead part of the island. And he would get away with that all the time. The first time I met Dr. Hendricks is some 45 years ago, when I was applying to work at the Bureau of Correction. And at that time, he did maybe about 4 different jobs. He worked for the Bureau of Correction. He ran the institution in the hospital for the mentally ill, and probably many more. And when we first decided to honor him, I said to myself, and he's a humble man, it took a lot for us to get to do this. We had to bargain with Kai and his wife over and over to make this happen. The job that he did is priceless. The Virgin Islands cannot pay or could have paid Dr. Olaf Hendricks for the work that he did in the Bureau of Correction and in the hospital. And when we started this process, I started thinking, and I said, but wait, he meet the best or the worst, those that are not or don't believe that they have a mental problem, but might have it. And he counseled them. He worked with them, get them online with the medication. And I said to myself, well, who he to talk to for his problems? Because he's taking on all of this. And it's a lot when people come to you and confess and tell you of the issues, the problems, and what they're going through in their life. And all of this bears on him. And as a doctor, he can't come to me and say, Frankie, my son, you don't have a man down there. He's this, he's that. He has to hold that. He has to hold it. And so I know that that is a very, very, very difficult task and a lot of burden on his and people in the medical field shoulder. And the first time we traveled, we had to go and pick up a guy in Buckner, North Carolina. And the guy was sent there for medical evaluation. Guy had a lot of issues. So we had to take Dr. Hendricks along with us. And he, told the doctor, and the doctor said, look, we're going to medicate this guy before we get him on the plane for you guys to go with him. So in traveling, it's 2 officers and the doc got some medication in case. And the guy, if you lose his hand, he'll walk the guy to the left. So a couple times I got to go to the counter to check in, clear our weapons and everything like that. And the next officer that was with me said, me holding that man, them, so you see how that man moving? Dr. Hendricks said, Frankie, you go ahead. I'm your backup officer. And he maintained control of that gentleman. And the most amazing thing with that gentleman, Doc, when we picked him up, we nearly get locked in the prison because he couldn't repeat his number. And we're going from one stage to the next. And each time the prisoner have to call his number out. And he couldn't call his number. And that's y'all ain't going to place. So Dr. Hendricks had to call for the doctor down in the medical ward, and he comes up and he said, yes, this is the gentleman that we've been taking care of. He might not remember his number because we had to prepare him for this trip. And the gentleman asked me to hold a number for him. He said, this is my mother number. Can you hold it for me till we reach St. Croix on a piece of paper? We picked him up about 6 o'clock that morning, and we traveled into the airport. We reached into St. Croix about 9, 10 o'clock at night. And we're so glad to relief. The man didn't drink, eat, do nothing. Didn't want nothing. And as I turned to walk off, he said, officer, you got my mother number. We looked back, we said, but wait, this man wasn't talking. We offered him food, we offered him drink. But the only thing that he kept on his mind was the number for his mom. As in the worst state that he could have been, he kept his mother in his mind. And when we reached back down, I had to really say to the doc, thank you so much for assisting me. And from that day, he said to me, you're a professional with what you do because I've done this before and never had such a smooth passage. And I must say to Dr. Hendricks, I really want to say thank you on behalf of the entire Virgin Islands for the work that you have done in the different areas of people with mental challenge, something that we see throughout our community continuously, something that we will never completely get a grip, a hold of. You could be here tomorrow functioning as well as you think you are, and tomorrow you need to find a psychiatrist, somebody to talk to. I urge you, never be afraid to talk and seek help because it could only help you. And with that, I say thank you again very much, Dr. Olaf Hendricks, for this work that you have done that we couldn't pay you. I don't care what we say, we couldn't pay you for the job that you have done. So the government of the Virgin Islands could not. And I said to the family, thank you, thank you, thank you for allowing us to have this great man for the amount of years that we have had him. My grandmother being on the house. So I know I'm safe now. Thank you very much again. God bless.
Thank you, Senator. And we invite all senators to the middle of the well for the plaque presentation to Dr. Olaf Bronco Hendricks. An act honoring and commending Dr. Olaf Bronco Hendricks for his tireless years of remarkable and invaluable contributions to the people of the Virgin Islands in the field of psychiatry, his advocacy for social justice for individuals with behavioral health and substance abuse issues, and for his music and mandating that any mental health facility established on the island of St. Croix be named in his honor. Family, friends, and supporters, we also invite you to the middle of the well for a photo. Dr. Hendricks, we invite you to the podium for acceptance remarks.
Good morning, everybody. Trying to process out all the things I could, should, ought to say, because we would be here until fall grow teeth. But the few things I want to focus on are mostly acknowledgments and expressions of gratitude. I'd like to thank not just for the professional luck that I've had to have been able to serve in this community, but I'd like to thank my parents, my family, and everybody else that had anything to do with my development in spite of all the threats I had to my, that were made to me, not real serious threats, things that started like, boy, I'm going to tell your father, boy, I'm going to tell your mother, and you know, things like that. But for some reason, I just kept going on, and didn't know better. I did not know that you could fail at becoming a doctor. I didn't know that. I thought you just went there, had a good time, study everything they give you, and just learn everything, deliver baby 93s. 93 babies I delivered. And the second last one, the father wanted to name after me. First name, Olaf. And his wife threatened to divorce him. Not my child. That whole experience was such a pleasure and a joy and a gift. And then coming back home to St. Croix as a psychiatrist, basically the first local psychiatrist on St. Croix, where people didn't understand or appreciate the extent to which the notion of mental illness or so-called psychiatric disorders had really buried itself in our community, in our society. We were always protected against having a lot of our own mentally ill people here on the island because the federal government had made arrangements with St. Elizabeth's Hospital in Washington, D.C. to take a lot of our more serious mentally ill individuals and take them to St. Elizabeth's Hospital. And this started in 1935, I believe. And when I got it, when I was in training in the 70s, I was fortunate enough to meet some of those people that were still there at St. Elizabeth's Hospital that had come from St. Croix and St. Thomas. And it occurred to me that they may not have a context, they may not have a sense of where they are or how they got here or in St. Elizabeth. But in one conversation, I asked the gentleman, tell me how you got to this place. He said, which place? I said, you're in St. Elizabeth's Hospital, right? He said, yeah. I said, okay. How did you get here? His answer, on the one hand, it's kind of strange. On the other hand, it's very telling. His answer was that he went to Jockey Market. You all know where Jockey Market is on St. Croix? Tide Village. He says, I went to Jockey Market and I found a pair of wings. And I used those wings to fly to St. Elizabeth. I was in shock, but I also appreciated and respected what his appreciation of how he got there. In a sense, he likened it to a passage to heaven. He had wings, at least for that. But in reality, these people were put on a boat, sometimes a cargo boat. And you know those boats took weeks to get to New York, and from New York, they put them on a bus down to Washington. They know nowhere, nothing about where they were. And just that aspect of working with folks from the Virgin Islands who were unfortunately suffering from some very serious psychiatric disorders, it changed my whole outlook on what this really means to me. And then on my first day at work on St. Croix, in the hospital, I was ready to show off. I was ready to show off to the patients, to let them know, well, you got a new kid in town, no, this is not Doc James. Doc James was he used to act like a psychiatrist. He had to do things because there was nobody else. And poor Doc, a lot of people don't appreciate Doc James. But Doc James would say, man, and he would talk to them, and he would take care of them. And when I met my first patient in Wang, it wasn't Wang Louis Hospital, it was Charles Howard. And I went up to him and I started talking to him. He said, you know Doc James? I said, yeah, that's my cousin. He said, oh, you're lucky. I'll let you treat me, I'll let you deal with me. But then he said to me something else that was would always be on my mind. And he said, you know what? I don't really believe that you're a psychiatrist or one of them mind doctor or one of them crazy doctor. But you look like a person whose roommate I would like to be. He was thinking that I was in fact a patient. So I started off from the very bottom, but I have to say that my trip has been an extremely joyous one, and it made me very, very grateful. And it was a pleasure to have served my people on this island. I got licks and blows and bites and kicks and everything, but I also had great times. You would say that, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't say treating people is a great okay. Yes, it was, because you saw the transformations and you saw the families. And some of these very people are my best friends today. And I thank God for that. And I also thank God for my family, my friends, my co-workers, for this community. And lastly, I want to let you all know why I'm wearing this hat. One of the reasons is that I had shingles. And shingles does not play. Please believe me, I got it in my head. And although the disease itself has gone, I'm suffering from the post-effects of it. And I can't afford to let a little breeze touch my head. And I'm serious, this is very serious. So that's the first reason I have the hat on my head, and I apologize to those of you who may be offended by my having a hat in here. But the second reason I have a hat on my head was because I was coming with a Rasta wig today to impress Ohio. And I put it on last night, and somehow during the night it dislodged. It's not a pretty thing to see a long Rasta wig right next to you in the bed first thing you wake up in the morning. And then I did the wrong thing. I put a little glue to hold the locks. Well, the locks fall on, and I put the hat on, and now I can't take it off. God bless you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hendricks. That voice that even killed, I see why patients would just go and speak with him. So thank you very much. Next, we will be honoring Dr. Ralph D. DeChabert, medical doctor, with Act number 8810, Bill number 35-0102. Dr. DeChabert's representative, Ms. Daniela DeChabert, we welcome you to the well, and primary sponsor, the Honorable Marie C. James, we invite you to the podium to speak to this measure.
Good morning, everyone. I was fortunate to have been born on the island of St. Croix. What a blessing it has been for me. When I went to college, I had friends who had never been treated by a black doctor or a doctor of color. I remember talking about all the doctors that I knew when I was growing up. And it was just strange to me that people did not know local doctors. I knew Dr. DeChabert, I knew Dr. Galiber, Galiber, who I spent a summer with when I was in high school in radiology. Of course, I knew Dr. Olaf Hendricks, Bronco. Dr. Claudius Henry. There's so many people that I can name. And of course, I knew Dr. Randall James, right? And I did not realize how fortunate we were as a community that these individuals returned home. That's the important thing that we need to realize. They returned home to serve their community and their people. And when Dr. Hendricks just spoke about St. Elizabeth's, I remember saying to people when I was in college that we didn't have any mentally ill people in the Virgin Islands because I didn't know they were at St. Elizabeth's. Imagine that. But we had people, like you said, who were suffering from mental illness. It's just that we didn't see it on our streets like we do today. One of the things that when I read about Dr. Ralph DeChabert was that he actively recruited people from here to return home, something that we're having a difficult time with right now, encouraging our own students to come back home. And we read about how accomplished they are in other jurisdictions and other places. And if they would only come home, but we have to make home where they want to come home, right? Dr. DeChabert, I think I have known his entire family all my life. And I was very touched by the fact that when you provided the information to us about your dad, that you included your entire family. And for me, reading through it, began, of course, with the beautiful Mildred, Millie, and that one is close to me, DeChabert, because I worked at my aunt Tita and Sadie's, which again is a little difficult for me right now, beauty shop. And she came with her two beautiful daughters, Danielle and Giselle, to get their hair done. And I was a shampoo girl. So that's how I got to know her. But she was the first person that gave, when I had my first daughter, a little protection amulet that I still have up to now. I want you to know that. She was a wonderful lady. And of course, I knew Dr. Chabert. Rita, I am actually reading from what you provided because Rita DeChabert, Schuster, Mario DeChabert, Austin, who my mother worked with in, I think it was vocational rehab. My mother actually worked with him. Shirley DeChabert Highfield, who I also knew very, very, very well. But your dad was such a quiet, humble soul when I saw him as a doctor. That seemed to permeate through your entire family. At times in this community, we as children of people who accomplished and raised themselves up, and Bronco know what I'm talking about, because we all came from humble beginnings, don't realize the sacrifices people like your family made in this community. So I really want to, as I went along and I saw that Rita Schuster served on the board of the hospital. Troy also, who I know because he attended school with my twin brother and sister. You know, the reason as I was reading through, when you had given it to me, I realized how I live in a community where we know each other. You know me and I know you. And some of the other people don't know us, but that's all right, because we know who we are. And your family has done so much for this community, and your dad, you know, with being a business owner. I wonder how many children he delivered. Do you know? Have you ever come? Does anybody know? You know, hundreds, right? Thousands. So it was an honor for me they have here 15,000 Crucian babies. Imagine that, 15,000. He was the medical director. He was a governing board member. He retired from his hospital service and his private OB/GYN practice at the end of 2004. This honor today is also providing for the erection of appropriate signage at an appropriate place at the Governor Wang Louis Hospital and Medical Center North. And it's going to be named, and I was glad you did this, the Dr. Ralph DeChabert and Mildred DeChabert Mother-Baby Unit. So I thank you as, of course, his daughter, and express to him how proud we are as a legislature to have honored him. Thank you very much.
And now we will begin the plaque presentation to the representative of Dr. Ralph DeChabert, medical doctor, Ms. Daniela DeChabert. Family, friends, and supporters, please join us in the well. An act honoring and commending Dr. Ralph DeChabert, medical doctor, for outstanding contributions in the medical field to the people of the Virgin Islands and his many civic contributions to the community, especially to the island of St. Croix, and to name the labor and delivery postpartum unit maternity services at the Wong F. Louis Hospital and Medical Center North, the Dr. Ralph A. DeChabert and Mildred C. DeChabert mother and baby units. Ms. DeChabert, the podium is yours.
Good morning, everyone. I was just remarking that that thing is as big as me. I'm sorry that my dad could not be here for this occasion. He wasn't feeling too well this morning. But I want to thank all of the sponsors of this presentation, co-workers, his colleagues who insisted that at this time, before he leaves this earth, that we let him know how much he means to us and how much he's contributed to this community, and that we honor him and we thank him for all that he's done, for all the babies, that 15,000. Who knows how many great people have come out of that who have also contributed to the community. It's sort of the gift that pays forward and keeps giving, a gift that keeps on giving. And I'm thankful to be able to be here to accept it in his stead. So I thank you again, everyone, for coming out today. For all of our honorees, I thank and I commend everyone for all that they have done for our community. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. DeChabert. At this time, we're going to move into the road naming ceremony portion of the program. So we are going to invite the Honorable Commissioner of the Department of Public Works, Commissioner Derek Gabriel, to the podium to make remarks about all of the road namings that we will be presenting this afternoon.
Good morning, Honorable Senate President Novelle Francis, other members of the 35th Legislature, family and friends, and of course our honorees. Thank you all for being here today. So, Before I start, I just want to, Senator James, your comments were really very spot on. And I want to tell you, I'm a Saint Homian. I've never met you, Dr. Hendricks, personally, but I've known about you since a child. DJ Poppy Pops, I ain't mean to date you, but I grew up listening to you on the radio. I guess that says more about my age, right? I've always heard about Valmy Thomas. These are names that have always rung in my head as a Virgin Islander all the way in St. Thomas. So it truly gives me a great pleasure to be here to join you today to honor these wonderful Virgin Islanders. Our beloved territory has a tremendously rich history and culture, and today I am honored to join you as we etch the names of these 12 outstanding Virgin Islanders and entity into that amazing history. Athletes, musicians, military leaders, clergymen, all have one thing in common. They dedicated their lives to serving our community and making it better. And for the election system, we all know how crucial our right to vote is. For me, it's always an honor to bestow names on our facilities and roads, as it means that for generations to come, we will continue to honor their lives dedicated to serving our community both here and abroad. It's their lives of service that we continue to build on. In that vein, I am truly honored to have my friend, colleague, and former Commissioner of the Department of Public Works here with me today. Thank you, former Commissioner Lyndell Williams, for joining me. And I really thank you for being a mentor to me in this position as well. Even though we grow up with and learn about these individuals, each time a resolution is presented, you learn way more about the lives that these amazing people led and continue to lead. It's a tremendous honor to be able to bestow something posthumously, but to give you your flowers while you're here really makes us all very happy. To the honorees and families, thank you for your service. Thank you for continuing to blow the conch shell and beat the drum. Thank you for doing the great work, oftentimes not asking for a dime or looking for any accolades. It means a lot to be able to honor you today. Senate President, honorable senators, and the central staff of the legislature, thank you for this wonderful new tradition. I think we finally got one going, right? It is really, really amazing to be able to put these names on roads, and hopefully I'll be paving them soon. I'm looking forward to many more, and in addition to the Perma Plaques, on behalf of the Department of Public Works, I'll be presenting small keepsake signs for you guys to take home as well. Thank you for your service, and we look forward to continuing to honor and serve you. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Gabriel. So we're going to get right to it, and we are going to honor and commend Lieutenant Melbourne Clarke with Resolution 8813, Bill number 35-0125, and we welcome you, Mr. Ray Clarke, to the well, who will be representing Lieutenant Melbourne Clarke, and we invite the Honorable Senate President to join me at the podium to speak to this measure.
Thank you very much, Mistress of Ceremony. And I'll be reading prepared remarks by Senator Kenneth Gittins, who is the primary bill sponsor on this particular resolution. And he indicated, good morning. I'm proud to honor Police Lieutenant Melbourne Clarke posthumously for his dedication, service, and contributions to the Virgin Islands community in law enforcement by adding the name Police Lieutenant Melbourne Clarke Drive at Route 669 on the island of St. Croix. So that particular route is going into Golden Grove, coming off of Queen Mary Highway, going into Golden Grove, a road that Lieutenant Clarke took on a daily basis, pretty much going in there. Officer Clarke was a son of the soil and an outstanding enforcement officer. Many people will also remember him as a stellar baseball player, playing on teams in St. Croix, Puerto Rico, and New York. In 1960, Officer Melbourne Clarke enlisted into the United States Army. In 1972, he returned to St. Croix, where he joined the Virgin Islands Police Department. He excelled within the department, including the top officers, being the first K-9 officer of the Virgin Islands K-9 Corps. He continued to rise through the rank and retired as the traffic commander in the St. Croix district. Senator Gittins spoke about being assigned to the Traffic Bureau at one point and learned a great deal from him. He took joy in sharing knowledge and treated all officers with respect. He taught us how to do things by not telling us, but by showing us how the way things are supposed to be done. He also stayed connected to the community, keeping everyone up to date with the traffic advisories. Lieutenant Clarke passed away on July 8, 2012, leaving behind his 3 children, Ray Anthony, Anna Maria, and Lynette Maria, as well as 3 grandchildren. I thank his family who are here today and coming and supporting this resolution through the process. So that was Senator Gittins' remark. I want to tell you about a true Lieutenant Clarke, because I also had the opportunity to work under him and see him in action. Lieutenant Clarke was the individual that would sit at a bar with you and just watch you and paid attention of what's going on. And when you get ready to leave, he went outside, and if you had a little bit too much to drink, you better believe you're being stopped on your way out. There's many stories in the police department where people spoke about Lieutenant Clarke actually gave his mother a traffic citation for speeding. He was very serious about his job. Again, he was a distinguished law enforcement officer. He spent a lot of time in traffic. When we had various motorcades, Lieutenant Clarke was the one that usually led those things. I mean, he knew the route numbers. He knew St. Croix, all of the roads and intersection. And, he was very, very effective at the job he had done. It was a tremendous loss when he retired from the police department. And of course, when he passed away, again, we lost a lot of history within the police department. So I'm honored to speak on the behalf of Senator Gittins and myself in recognizing the contribution that have been made by Lieutenant Melbourne Clarke. And, again, we live in a vortex here in this community. I remember when his son here was just a baby. Also riding in the police cars back in the days with Lieutenant Clarke as well. So again, it's a true honor for us to present this plaque on behalf of the Legislature of the Virgin Islands to Lieutenant Melbourne Clarke.
All senators, please join us. And we're also going to have Commissioner Gabriel join with the commemorative road sign as well. An act honoring and commending the late Lieutenant Melbourne Clarke posthumously for his dedication, service, and contributions to the Virgin Islands community in law enforcement by adding the name Police Lieutenant Melbourne Clarke Drive at Route 669 on the island of St. Croix.
Family, please come forward.
Mr. Clarke, podium is yours.
Oh, Jesus. Morning, everybody. Promise my wife I ain't gonna have no promise I wasn't gonna cry today. But around this time of year, no matter how many years pass, you still feel it for your loved one, you know, who pass. Everything I am today, everything my two sisters are today too, is through my father. You know, Daddy was very diligent and very resilient when it comes to reading and researching. I guess that's why Anna became, and she's now Dr. Anna Maria Clarke. And my other sister, Lynette, is working in the government as well. She have a degree. I myself have a degree as well, 2 degrees. I work with property and procurement. I got started watching Daddy and, of course, dealing with the licks when you don't listen to study and do your work. Yeah, just Daddy did give Mommy a ticket in case in case you are wondering if that's true. She was rushing to work. She used to work at Hess back in them days, and she was rushing to work. And you know that junction you reach by Schuster Water. You got reliable there. When you come there, you got to look for traffic this way before you proceed. Well, Mommy and her Hayes didn't look, and she just went through. That used to hide there in the bush where reliable rentals is now. So when she gone across, she woo, 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 woo. And she said, oh, God. She told me, oh, God, to herself, that smell. So, yeah, he walked up to the car, license the registration. He didn't even say, like, he didn't even say, honey, I'm sorry, nothing like that, you know. Get a ticket. And he actually went to court, too, because she had to go to court to defend herself. So when she get there, everybody in the court was laughing. You know, I was a young fellow then. Everybody was laughing. And the judge asked Daddy, you know, you really, really, really give your wife a ticket? He said, Your Honor, if it was my mother, I'd give her a ticket. And that was the whole thing behind the story. But, you know, he was very committed to his job, very committed to everything that he did. Every rank he earned, every test he took, everything he did was just high marks. I just can't say much more about Daddy that, you know, that all of us love him. My Aunt Maggie Waterbody in the audience, she served with the Public Defender's Office as well for many years. And I just blessed to be around my aunt, my father, my uncle, who really, really are my role models for me becoming the man I am today. I just want to thank everybody. I want to say congratulations to all the honorees. You know, it just shows you what we have in this community and the type of people we have in this community that will give themselves. The families will also give themselves as well to help them to serve the community better. So everybody have a good day. Y'all take care. God bless.
Thank you, Mr. Clarke. Senator Gittins made an right on time arrival. Senator Gittins, we recognize you, and would you like to say anything? Okay. The Senate President did go ahead and read your remarks, so thank you so much. Next, we will be honoring and commending Dr. Rafael Garcia, medical doctor. And the primary sponsor of that measure is Senator Samuel Carrion. And we welcome Mr. Rafael Garcia to the well.
Good morning, everyone. This is the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. Surely this is a beautiful day, and I congratulate all the honorees this morning. I would like to read a little bit about the resolution for Dr. Garcia, who I believe he's not a stranger to many of us, especially those on the west side of the island. Rafael Garcia was born in July 15, 1940 on the island of St. Croix. And he was married to Sherry Garcia for 58 years. And together they have 5 children: Elizabeth, Maria Cristina, Rafael Antonio, Loriana, and Miguel Andres Garcia, and 6 grandchildren. In the early years, Dr. Garcia attended St. Patrick's Catholic School in Frederickstad from kindergarten all the way through 12th grade. Upon graduating from high school, Dr. Garcia attended Iona College for 1 year before transferring to the Interamericana University of Puerto Rico in San Germán, and then went to study at the University of Puerto Rico in Rio Piedras, Puerto Rico, where he obtained his pre-medicine degree. He ultimately graduated from the University of Barcelona in Spain with his doctorate degree in medicine in 1972. Upon returning to St. Croix, Dr. Garcia worked in the public health sector at Christiansted Hospital, Queen Louise Home, also Juan F. Lewis Hospital until 1984. Dr. Garcia was licensed to practice medicine in Puerto Rico, Michigan, and here in the Virgin Islands. In 1983, Dr. Garcia's drive for medicine and helping others led him and his wife to embark on an entrepreneurial journey by opening their own private practice in Estate 2 Williams in Frederickstad, which served the community of St. Croix for almost 50 years. And many of us were his patients and went through his office. Dr. Garcia's love for St. Croix and the Virgin Islands throughout the territory was well known in the community. And his passion and love for a healthier territory were well grounded in the belief that everyone is entitled to quality health care. So, in many instances, he would receive his patients even if they didn't have the money to pay and provided the services for them, because he believed that people having access to health care was something that was necessary. Dr. Garcia who lived a life of service for his patients, community. He passed away on May 8th of 2021 at the age of 80. And therefore, the Legislature of Virgin Islands, on behalf of the people of Virgin Islands, posthumously honors and commends the late Rafael Garcia, MD, for his dedication, service, and commitment to the Virgin Islands community. In honor of the late Rafael Garcia, a portion of a Carlton roadway from Queen Mary Highway heading north is named the Rafael Garcia MD Drive for his outstanding years of service to the Virgin Islands community as a medical director and a public servant. So for me, it's an honor to have been able to recognize and do this naming. Thank you. God bless.
Okay, we'll proceed with the plaque presentation. And the commemorative sign. An act posthumously honoring and commending Dr. Rafael Garcia, medical doctor, for his outstanding years of service to the Virgin Islands community as a medical doctor and a public servant, and naming a portion of the Carlton roadway from the Queen Mary Highway heading north in his memory. Family and friends, please join us for a photo. far, so don't go too far. Mr. Garcia, the podium is yours.
Good morning, everyone. This dedication is truly welcomed. Rafi has always been an incredible doctor and a person who truly cared about his patients. His dedication was amazing. He'd wake up in the middle of the night with a revelation on what he should do next. I mean, he was constantly there. Anything for you? Anyway, I'm going to make this short. Thank you so much, and we're truly blessed. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next, we will be honoring and commending Pastor Hector Gonzalez with Act Number 8319, Bill Number 33-045. And this measure was not sponsored by Senator Carrion, but he will be speaking on this measure today. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning once again. I'm so honored to be able to stand here today and speak about a man that I've known all my life. Yes, I'm not the sponsor. The sponsor of this measure was Senator Alicia Barnes, Senator Okla Benta, and Senator Javon James, co-sponsor Alicia de Gazan. An act honoring and commending Pastor Hector Gonzalez for his 56, I think now it's much more, maybe almost 60 years of ministry, for his outstanding service and dedication to the people of the Virgin Islands. Pastor Gonzalez was born on the island of Vieques, Puerto Rico on July 14, 1948. And Mr. Gonzalez, along with his soon-to-be wife, Nilda Quiñones, accepted Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior in November of the same year, of the same night in 1963, I should say. And Mr. Gonzalez and Nilda Quiñones, on December 30th of 1963, moved to St. Croix to seek better employment opportunity and made St. Croix their home. Mr. Gonzalez, in 1968, began working at the VI Community Bank, and he and his wife joined the Hermanos Unidos en Cristo Church, located in the state Strawberry Hill on St. Croix. And in August of 1975, he left and began also their own chapter of ministry in the area of Sign Farm. Mr. Gonzalez, Pastor Gonzalez now, on November 27, 1975, was officially installed as a pastor by the International Council of Hermanos Unidos en Cristo Church, located in Puerto Rico. He continued his calling by purchasing a property in Estate 37 Casa Coakley in 1979, so that this chapter of Hermanos Unidos en Cristo could be a permanent home for worship, praise, ministry, and community service. Pastor Gonzalez decided that his church would be named Church of Zion, as it was originally formed in Sign Farm. Zion was a very important and deep biblical context. In 1989, the Church of Zion expanded and opened the Zion Christian Academy and daycare, which provided faith-based curriculum for children's ages 2 to 7. The establishment of the academy and daycare for the children was an important contribution to St. Croix, because studies were shown that children who attended quality early education and daycare facilities have an earlier transition to elementary school and a higher likelihood to success. In addition to the many benefits the children and daycare provided, important benefits to the parents, allowing them to support their families while ensuring that their children are in a safe, nurturing environment. In 1990, Pastor Gonzalez was appointed by the International Council of Hermanos Unidos en Cristo as supervisor of the Virgin Islands region, which included the U.S. and the British Virgin Islands. And in January of 1996, he was elected as the international vice president and served until 2012. During this time, he worked tirelessly with the International Board. From 1990 to present, Pastor Gonzalez has worked to build the church on St. Thomas, Tortola, BVI, and working building chapters in St. Martin, and also traveled to Texas, Dominican Republic, Spain, Guatemala, Costa Rica, Panama, Venezuela, Colombia, and Kenya. Pastor Gonzalez, the church at Zion, has been in existence in the same location for more than 40 years. Pastor Gonzalez has greatly contributed to his community and has been a positive influence, especially in the youth, and providing different type of services to our community for the homeless, those in need, those in prison, and in the hospital. It is fitting for this legislature to honor Pastor Gonzalez, who many years devoted service and outstanding leadership as a pastor and citizen of the community has contributed greatly to the island of St. Croix. Therefore, the legislature, on behalf of the people of the Virgin Islands, commends Pastor Hector Gonzalez for his leadership and service to the community in St. Croix, and in honor of Pastor Gonzalez's outstanding leadership and service to his church and community, Route 681, Hess Road in Christiansted, St. Croix, is renamed Route 681, Hector Gonzalez Road. The Department of Public Works shall erect appropriate signage bearing the name Route 681, Hector Gonzalez Road. Thank you very much. It's an honor to recognize a man who has made St. Croix his home and dedicated his life not only to the ministry, but also to the service of the community, of this community. Thank you very much, Pastor Gonzalez. God bless you.
All senators, please join us in the well for the plaque presentation. An act honoring and commending Pastor Hector Gonzalez for his 60 plus years of ministry and his outstanding service and dedication to the people of St. Croix, and naming a road in his honor. Family and friends, please join us. Pastor Gonzalez, you may take the podium.
Good morning, everyone. I can try to express myself. It's not easy, but I got to say something. I want to thank God, first of all, for this honor that He grants me on this day. But, hallelujah, glory to God. It's an honor, I said, to be here in front of all of you. All my respect to the members of the senators, president, our president, yes, Novelle Francis, and all the members for the Legislature. God bless brothers, sisters, neighbors, and everybody in these days. I can't overlook some very important people who, after God, have been very important and are part of this achievement. My family. First God, then my family. My wife, Nilda, they say Quiñones, but she was Quiñones in Vieques, but in St. Croix, she's Gonzalez. Amen. She should, instead of me, she should be here. I'm telling you, because she worked so hard. And I bring her today. She's, you know, I said, well, it's important. We need her to come here. And since we came to this island, we start to work here. I love this island of St. Croix, and I love the people. I want to thank my family. I have 3 of my children here today. Pastor Renaud Gonzalez, Aisha, she's not the old, but she oldest. And Pastor Dina Scott, she went outside for a while. So let me tell you this. I want to give thanks to the church, not the local church, to all the churches in St. Croix, English or Spanish. I have a good relationship with all the people here because I have a motto that I always say, first God and then the people. You understand what I mean? Primero Dios and then la gente, the people. If you going to serve God, you're serving God, but if you don't serve the people, you know what I mean? You need to love the people. And I love the people of St. Croix. And so I thank God for this opportunity. It's an honor. There is a Bible verse that I always say, 1 Corinthians 15:10. But by the grace of God, I am what I am. And His grace to me has not been in vain. You understand? God first. God first. God first. So, thank you very much. I feel very. And if up to now we've been here, I came here. I had 19 years. The time passed fast. I lived 19 years in Vieques with my mom, but I live with my wife here 58 years now. So I am from St. Croix. Thank you. Thank you very much. And remember, we are here to serve. We are here to serve as the government serving the community, all the leaders, the church leaders. We have to serve. You have to serve. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pastor. We now honor Euclyn Pede Prentice Jr. He is honored with Act number 8300, Bill number 33-0097. Primarily sponsored by the Honorable Vaughn James Sr., and we invite his daughter, Zanai Prentice, to the well. Oh. And Senator James is represented by his Chief of Staff, Ms. Andrea Mashila.
Thank you. Good morning to everyone. Thank you very much. I'd like to pass the apologies of Senator James. Unfortunately, he was unable to make it today, so he has asked me to present this letter in his stead. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, today we come together to honor the memory of a true son of the United States Virgin Islands, a man born on the beautiful island of St. Croix. Euclyn Pede Prentice Jr. His roots in these islands run deep, shaping him into the remarkable individual who captured the hearts of many through his extraordinary achievements in the world of horse racing. Euclyn Prentice Jr., a proud U.S. Virgin Islander, rode in 2,580 career races, leaving a legacy of excellence with 256 first-place finishes, 300 second-place finishes, 302 third-place finishes. His career purse earnings exceeded $3 million, a testament to his skill, dedication, and unwavering passion for the sport. Today, we acknowledge the pivotal role played by his mother, Carmen Parija, and his father, Euclyn Prentice Sr. We also want to recognize his daughter, Zanai Prentice, who was the fuel that inspired him to pursue his dreams. Zanai was also 2023 Princess of St. Croix. Senator James, recognizing the extraordinary achievements of Euclyn Prentice Jr., proposed Act number 8300 to honor and commend this exceptional individual. Today, we not only celebrate his accomplishments, but also immortalize his legacy by naming a road in his honor, declaring June 8th of every year as Euclyn Pede Prentice Jr. Day. As we reflect on Pede's life and career, let us remember his proud heritage as a U.S. Virgin Islander and the indelible mark he left on the world of horse racing. Let us honor his memory by embodying the values of sportsmanship, perseverance, and respect for his character. In closing, let us carry forward the spirit of Euclyn Pede Prentice Jr. as we strive for excellence and inspire others to chase their dreams. May his legacy endure as a beacon of dedication, courage, and achievement for generations to come. Thank you.
All Senators and Commissioner Gabriel, please join us in the middle for presentation to Princess Prentice on behalf of her father, Euclyn Pede Prentice Jr. An act posthumously honoring and commending Euclyn Pede Prentice Jr. for his accomplishments in the horse racing industry and his contributions to the Virgin Islands and naming a road in his honor. Family, friends, and supporters, please join us. All right, Ms. Prentice, the microphone and podium is yours.
Morning. It's not every day a girl gets to enjoy the fruits of her father's labor. Today, I am truly thankful that I have the opportunity to. My dad was such an amazing breath of fresh air. He was my first love and my favorite person of all time. That day in and day out, he worked hard to provide the best life for me, and he did it. To have a street named after your dad is such a blessing. I truly wish that he was here to see how far his horse riding skills took him. My dad was a believer, a go-getter, and a soldier, and most importantly, the best dad anyone could have asked for. I still wish that I had the opportunity to grow up with him, but I will always hold on to the wonderful memories we created. My dad was the best and always will be. He may be gone from my sight, but he will always be in my heart. In closing, special thanks to Vaughn James and the Legislature for such a deserving award.
That was amazing. Thank you, Princess Prentice. And now we move to our final honoree, Valmy Thomas, who is honored with Act number 8671, Bill number 34-0376, and we welcome his representative, Ms. Shelley Thomas, to the well. Speaking on this measure will be the Honorable Franklin D. Johnson.
Good morning again. Please give that young lady a next big round of applause. I really don't know how to come and speak after you. It's a very difficult task. You move us here today. But I must say that the legislature take a lot of licks for honoring our people. Sometimes you listen to the radio and you hear, that's all I could do. But how could we not? How can we not honor men and women who serve this territory? How can we not name roads in their honor? So when I hear it and I come to these ceremonies like this, it just hurts my heart to see that we don't give our people the respect that is due to them. As long as I'm alive and I'm in here, I will definitely take part, and I always find someone in this territory who have done great things to recognize them and give them the flowers. And it's so good when you can give it to them when they're alive. So I say congratulations to every one of you all today that was honored, and for all the work and achievement that you have done for us in this territory. Without you, none of us could be standing here. Valmy Thomas, wow. All the years I know Valmy Thomas until the day, and by the way, Senator Kurt Ville is the sponsor of this bill. I'm a prime sponsor with him. I never know that he come from Panbush. Until the time come that this piece of legislation is being written, I always know Valmy Thomas from the eastern part of the island. You know, so these are things that sometimes people don't even know. But he came out of Frederickstead, right down on the Bayside, and he went to Christianstead, right down on the Bayside again. So he tells me that he loves the Bayside. He have 5 beautiful children: Lisa, Valmy Jr., Lydia, Florence, Shelley, and Juliet. His accomplishments in the sports of baseball is just untouching. He was the first Virgin Islander to play Major League Baseball. He also played in Puerto Rico, where he won a championship with the Santos team. He also played in Canada. This man is one of the most recognized catcher. If you ever see him and you see his films, he was just as smooth could be. The way he sat behind at that place and just received that ball. But he didn't just play Major League. He came back and made sure that he took part and teach and train. As an older man, I saw him on the ballpark going behind at that plate, and he was up in age. But he was demonstrating to the younger guys them, this is how to do it. And then when he took the racetrack and was running it, he's a man of time. And if he said the race going to start at 1, you better have your horse up there at 1. Some of the horsemen didn't believe that this is going to happen. So they lollygagging, taking their good old time, selling up their horse. My Valmy man, the race ain't going without our horse. And he said the horses have to be up here 1 o'clock for a 1:30 race. The gate gonna close at 1. Well, they down there lagabine and tell the security, lock the gate. And about 2 has get locked out at a race. And you know how they went on. But Valmy said, I study now, you know, I tell her this, yeah. You know, no race, no Hassim is not a race for the day, right? When the word got around that these particular horses didn't get in because the gate was locked, people coming up before the time, Valmy said, no, your race is the next race. But they wanted to race a horse, and they make sure that they're going to be on time. But Valmy was a tickler for time and wanted to make sure that the horse racing industry was to the best level that he can make it. And he did an awesome job doing that. So not only was he a baseball player, he definitely did well with that track. In fact, he started investing and bringing in horse. And at that time, he brought in horse, and the horses was there for people to purchase or either train until they could afford to purchase the horse. But he did an awesome job running the track. My colleague back here tried to play Little League baseball. As big as he is, can it get in, Senator Gittins. And he had to deal with Valmy, and Valmy tell him you're going to get on to catch because I want you to be a catcher. Big guys could be behind the plate. Now he was slim. You know, you're healthy now, you know. We grew up in Frederickson, so I know him from the time he was young and a very small, thin guy, but he did play some baseball. Valmy Thomas was also inducted into the Puerto Rico Hall of Fame. And people don't realize that he played so much ball in Puerto Rico, he won that championship, and they inducted him into the Hall of Fame. He also was inducted into the African United Baseball Hall of Fame. This gentleman was recognized around the world. And guess what? He was born in Puerto Rico and then came back home. How do we not take time out to honor? The pastor just came up and he tell you, been in Vegas for 19 years, but this is his home. How do we not honor someone who came here and worked? Dr. Hendricks, Dr. DeChabert, how do you not do this? We must make sure that the history, the culture, the people who have made this country what it is, be recognized so the children that come in behind, when they're driving down and they say, the sign said Valmy Thomas, they must ask the question, who is that man? And with technology today, when they go and they go into their phone, they're going to see who is that man, who is that woman, who are the people that came before us to pave the road for us. So I say thank you to the legislature for continuing this, even though we get blows for it. We're not going to stop because we must give credit to our people. Thank you very much.
All senators and commissioners, please come forward. An act posthumously honoring and commending Valmy Thomas for his contributions to the Virgin Islands community and for renaming Subecker Lane and West Lane in his memory, making a $15,000 appropriation and for other related purposes. Family, friends, and supporters, please join us. All right, Ms. Thomas. Ms. Thomas, the podium is yours.
What kind of mic this is? Good morning. Okay. Oh, that's what time it is. To the Honorable Novelle E. Francis, members of the 35th Legislature, distinguished honorees, family, and guests. Martha Stewart said, if you learn something new every day, you can teach something new every day. I am here today to teach you something new. The legislation that will create a street in honor of my father passing by United Sporting Goods Store started as a dream that evolves into brick and mortar. My parents, Valmy Thomas and Gloria Gibbs Thomas, got married in 1946. Expecting their first child, they were given the opportunity to purchase 6A-B West Lane from my maternal cousin, Augustine Franklin Lewis. She lived in New York for a number of years and decided that she would not be returning to St. Croix on a permanent basis. The property was purchased on February 6, 1950, and is listed in Register V, page 123 to 124 at the Recorder of Deeds. My sister Flo, whose daughter came up to the podium with me, was born on July 12, 1950. Being forward thinkers and knowing how important land was, they also purchased undeveloped property at 226 Richmond. In 1957, with 3 girls to contend with, my parents decided to open a sports store on Company Street, right in the bottom of the building that currently houses DV Fabric. The majority of time, my mother managed the business with a small staff, including Gloria Adams Marcus, Atalia Williams and her brother Warren, among a host of local students. My father was away playing ball and would return during his breaks. I remember hearing VT in the back of the store, fixing transistor radios, refurbishing old firearms, and occasionally conversing with people who dropped by to see him while he was on island. In 1961, my parents divorced, and my mother chose the property in Richmond and built her home, which remains there today. The property at 6A-B West Lane was quit-claimed to my father, and he quit-claimed Richmond to my mother, Glory. So the genesis of this building and the business that weathered 67 years and counting started as a young couple's dream and evolved into a reality that was carried on by my father, who is being honored today. By the way, I have to acknowledge Novelle Francis and Kenneth Mapp, who as young police officers, having been assigned to patrol Watergut, would always stop by to check on my father and engage in conversation, way longer than expected for those who knew my father. My father was a Renaissance man, headstrong, determined, funny, serious, stubborn, all the things that made him who he was. He was never satisfied with hearing the word no. On behalf of my sister, Juliet, my brother, Henry Roberto Romero, who unfortunately could not travel from Santo Domingo to be here, and my deceased sister, Flo, I would like to thank former Senator Kurt Vallee, a fellow Watagonian, who lived in the Grove before moving to Estate La Grande Princess when he was 2, for the honor he bestowed on us today. My father is proud. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Thomas. That was our final honoree for this ceremony. I must mention that Honorary Willard John and Honorary Vaughn Benjamin's honor and commend Perma Plaques will be conveyed at another time, as the representatives were unable to be here today. So as we close, let us say, let us pay our talents forward like DJ Poppy Pops, Dr. Ralph DeChabert, and Dr. Rafael Garcia. Let us find some way to serve like the Honorary Brigadier General Leayle Gerard Galiber. Let us research and be confident like Dr. Caroline Fawkes and the Board of Elections. Let us treat everyone with kindness and humanity like Dr. Olaf, Bronco, Hendricks. Let us remember that not even mommy can get a pass, like Lieutenant Melbourne Clarke. Let us believe and let us honor our spouse, like Pastor Hector Gonzalez. Let us ride to win, and let us leave a legacy like our princess, like Euclyn Pede Prentice Jr., and let us go international like Valmy Thomas. Please give a round of applause for all of our honorees. And as we conclude this ceremony, we will hear closing remarks from the Senate President Novelle E. Francis. He will be immediately followed by Chaplain Reverend Brown, who will provide the benediction and dismiss us all. Thank you, everyone. Before Senate President comes up, I'd just like to thank the staff of the legislature who makes this event possible, the Division of Public Affairs for the visuals, for the invitations, and for the live stream. Thank you to our facilities, our drivers. Thank you for the Office of Executive Director. Thank you to Ms. Myrna Picard, who takes the lead on Perma Plaque St. Croix. And thank you to our business office, who's not in here, volunteer and human resources volunteer who served as ushers today. Now we will have our closing remarks from Senate President Francis.
Thank you very much, Ms. Sheridan. What a morning we have had. A lot of emotions here today. But again, I really want to thank all of you for being here today. I also want to thank Commissioner Derek Gabriel, the Department of Public Works on the street naming, and working along with the staff here and the Executive Director's Office in getting us to this point. Finally, I want to thank the 35th Legislature of the Virgin Islands, my colleagues, again, for their sponsorship of these resolutions. And just real quickly, I just want to talk quickly about the resolution process, because I think it's important for those individuals that's viewing and listening to understand the process. Usually, there is an idea or recommendation that's made by someone in the community in regards to recognizing the contributions that have been made, and they approach a senator. With that idea, we work with them to develop the wherefore clauses and put the resolution together. That is then presented to the legal counsel's office, initially by a bill draft. And then once it's completed, then it's performed and assigned to the Committee of Jurisdiction, which is Government Operations. And of course, you go through that process from there. Once it's moved out of government operations, then it goes to the Rules and Judiciary Committee, where again, which is a clearinghouse, this process, and then it's taken to session. Once it's moved from session, then it goes to the governor's office for final signature, then come back, and then we schedule this type of ceremony. So there is a grueling, long process in order for us to get these resolutions completed. But as many of my colleagues have indicated, that it's important it's really important for us to be able to recognize the contributions that have been made by our community members and, really to pay tribute. Because guess what? If you don't know your history, again, you don't know where you've been or where you're coming from or where you're going. A lot of times, we just pass through. We're only here for a reason and a season, and then you're forgotten. Who's that? Who's who? You know what I mean? So I think it's important that we are leaving our mark and having that done. I finally want to also recognize the Office of the Executive Director, Protocol Officer, Myrna Picard, Public Affairs, Central Staff, and my senatorial staff for all of their hard work and the success of today's ceremony. I want to also recognize Senator Carla Joseph, who was here earlier today. However, I had sent her over to the investiture for Harold Willox, so she represented me there while I'm here today with this ceremony. Again, I want to thank all of you for being here today. Thank the families for your contribution. I can't say that enough, because you too pay the price of the sacrifices and the contributions that have been made by your family members. So a big thank you for that. So at this time, I'll call on the chaplain, Charles Brown, for the benediction. Thank you very much. God bless.
Let us all stand. Now unto him who is able to keep us from falling, to present us faultless before the presence of his glory with exceeding joy. To the only wise God, our Savior, be glory, majesty, dominion, and power, now and forever. Lord, bless the food that we're about to receive. May it be fuel and not fattening to our bodies. Bless the hands that prepared it. In Jesus' name, amen.